Every year, 3 teams from the Championship get promoted to the Premier League. But if the Premier League's taught us anything this season, it's that newly promoted teams really struggle to survive, as all 3 promoted sides from last year have indeed been relegated. So you have to wonder if the newly promoted sides from the Championship this year are going to suffer the exact same fate as that. But guys, that's where I come in, because I'm going to take over all 3 newly promoted clubs with the sole purpose to win them the Premier League. But it's not as simple as that, as we've only got 15 seasons to do this. This is going to be insanely difficult, but I've never backed down from a challenge, so let's see if we can do this. And to begin this challenge, we're going to be using the champions of the Championship, Leicester City. And what a team to start with, guys, because this Leicester City squad honestly are already ready for the Premier League. I mean, they got players like Steffi Mavididi, who absolutely tore it up in the Championship. They've also got Dewsbury Hall, who we all know is Gabby Agbonlaho's favourite player. And there's Abdul Fattah, who also tore it up in the Championship this year. He's currently on loan to us right now, but honestly, I feel like we're going to have to sort this out. Because remember, we've only got 15 seasons in total to win all 3 promoted sides from the Championship, the Premier League. And this works out at roughly 5 seasons per team, but we all know it's not going to be as simple as that. But to be fair, guys, looking at the state of this current Leicester City side, and given the fact we've given promotion money on top of our current budget, so we've got 106 million to spend, there's a good chance that we could turn this Leicester City side into Premier League champions in less than 5 seasons if we get our transfers right. But first things first, guys, we need to sort out the tactics, and I'm going for the 4-3-3 defensive variation. This is because we got 2 DMs, 1 centre midfielder, and no central attacking midfielders. And partnering up with that, we are gegenpressing, guys. We are not sitting back in the Prem, we are absolutely going for it. And unlike usual, guys, I haven't actually had to mess around with this team to come up with the strongest starting 11. It was literally already sorted for me. But the big question is now, where are we going to put all of this 106 million? Well, guys, I think part of that answer is fairly obvious, isn't it? Abdul Fattah, who's currently on loan to us right now, and if we are serious about winning the Prem, we've got to sign him up on the permanent deal. And there we go, guys. For just over £10 million, we've signed our first player as Leicester City manager. And this still leaves us 97 million to spend on the team. And honestly, I just think we need a proper out-and-out goal scorer and also a proper good goalkeeper. Once we sort those 2 positions out, I reckon we are set for season 1 in the Prem. Now, granted, we do already have other options like Patson Daka for that striker position, Kelechi Iheanacho, and of course Jamie Vardy, but he's retiring at the end of this season, as you can clearly see. But guys, remember, we're on a time limit here. We've only got 15 seasons to win a Premier League with all 3 promoted clubs. So if that means I'm not giving certain players a chance like Patson Daka and Kelechi Iheanacho, unfortunately that's just what's going to have to happen. But I'm not going to the top 5 leagues for this striker. I'm going to the Eredivisie, because there's one striker in that league who's absolutely killing it. And of course I'm talking about Santiago Gimenez. He's only 22 years old. He's already a really good player with a lot of potential, and he only cost us 30 million. And I've just spent 40 million on the dot to sign Atalanta's Marco Carnesecchi, who's only 23, already a fantastic goalkeeper, again with a lot of high potential, and I feel like this is the right move. And this still leaves us 20 million to spend, and honestly, I think I know exactly where to put this money. If we're serious about surviving the Prem, we need to shore this back line up, and I feel like replacing Vestergaard is the right move. And I feel like Benoit Badiashile is a good player to replace him with. Only 22 years old, a good overall with a good potential, and he's within our budget. This one's a no-brainer. And just like that, season 1's transfer window is done, as for 15 million, Badiashile now plays for Leicester. And I think we've done a tremendous job in that transfer window, guys. We've made 4 signings, and all 4 of them are going to be vital in not only us surviving the Premier League, but thriving. I mean, obviously, season 1's objective is to survive the Premier League, but I think we're going to do a bit better than that. Especially now that we signed a striker who simply can't stop scoring, a goalkeeper who's got phenomenal potential, and an already Premier League experienced centre-back. It's going to be interesting to see how season 1 pans out, but above all else, we need to take one step closer to the Premier League title at the end of this campaign. And guys, that's exactly what we've done. Not only have we kept Leicester City up, we are in the top 8 at the end of our first season back in the Prem with them. I mean, granted, we are still a long way away before we are becoming Premier League champions. Is look at Manchester City, man, 92 points, that's insane, but we are taking a step in the right direction. And I think a big part of us doing so well is Santiago Gimenez bagging 18 goals and 6 assists in 38 games. We can't be looking Steffi Mavididi though. 24 goal contributions completions and 44 games is something else as well. And look at Carnesecchi, he got 12 clean sheets overall from 44 games, 10 of those coming from the Premier League, and that is fantastic. And as you can see from a development standpoint, everybody has put a right shift in, not just our new signings, and everybody's on form as well. So it's safe to say we've done everything right so far with Leicester City. Now we've just got to take it up a notch to get Leicester from 7th in the Premier League to that top 4. But before we go any further, did you lot know I'm in a race with this Twitter IT of Raman to 100,000 subscribers? Guys, I'll be honest with you lot, I don't like losing at the best of times, especially in this occasion as well. So help me out. If you're enjoying this video so far, leave it a big old thumbs up and smash that subscribe button. But guys, as we get into season 2, I'm feeling a formation change here. The 4-2-3-1 narrow, I feel like suits Leicester City a little bit better than the 4-3-3 defensive variation. I mean, we've got players like Mavididi, Jimenez, Fatawu in our attack, who are all really good players. I feel like we need a formation that's going to get the best out of them, and I feel like the 4-2-3-1 is the formation to do that. But to make this formation work, we're going to need better cams, because the ones we've got are absolutely pants, to be honest. But thanks to how good last season was, the board have given us over 100 million to spend, and honestly, I know exactly what kind of cam we can bring in with this kind of money. I think Tommaso Baldanzi is absolutely perfect. He's 21 years old, a very good player already, and with him being an exciting prospect, we all know how good his potential is. And let's be honest, he's playing at Roma, so he's playing top level football in Italy. He's going to be no slouch in the Prem. But guys, trust me, he was not cheap to buy. 49.9 million, but he's going to be worth every penny. And we've still got 48 million to spend, and I would be absolutely stupid not to spend this money whilst we're on a time limit. And I think we put this money once again into our back line. I mean, James Justin, for example, is actually our weakest link in the starting 11, so it wouldn't be a bad thing to sort that out. So I brought back a familiar face to Leicester City in Ben Chilwell for 30 million. He's only 27 years old, he's a very goddamn good player, and he can definitely elevate us to that next level. And honestly, I am blown away by how good this team looks already. It's only season 2 of Leicester, remember. And what's crazy, with a weaker team than this, we finished 7th in the Premier League, so what can we do with an even better team? Well guys, I can tell you, we are top 4 with Leicester City in only our 2nd year in charge. Granted, we are still at 9 points behind Manchester City, who won the league, but this is a gigantic step in the right direction. And it's so obvious how we pulled this off, man. Santiago Jimenez has been outstanding, 25 goals, 7 assists in 40 games. Bit of a letdown for Baldanzi though. Granted, he's gone up to 84 overall, but he's only got 5 goal contributions in 32 games. But look at this team, man. It is absolutely phenomenal. Everybody's happy, everybody's improving, and the best thing is, going into season 3, it's only going to get better. I'm telling you now, guys, Man City need to watch their back, because we're hunting them down, and at some point we're going to take that title away from them. Unfortunately though, guys, as we go into season 3, if we are to do that to Manchester City, we're going to have to be ruthless in how we do it. For starters, we do need to replace Mavididi, as much as it hurts me to say this, because he's been tremendous the past 2 seasons. However, now he's the weakest link in the front 4. And it's the same story with Wout Faes. He's the weakest link in our back 4, and honestly the team at this point. And I feel like we need a right back way better than Ricardo Pereira if we are to win the Premier League too. Thankfully though, we've got the funds to pull this off, as we've been given 165 million. And for that left winger role, I'm actually going to go to the French league to see who I can find. Well guys, I found an absolute baller in Bradley Barcola from PSG. He's only 22 years old, he's a fantastic player, and we only spent 45 million on him. I also spent 46.5 million on Alessandro Buongiorno from Wolfsburg. He's 26 years old, he's levels above Wout Faes as a centre-back. This one is a no-brainer. And this one is also a no-brainer, guys, as we are signing Giovanni Di Lorenzo. Now granted, he is 31, but he's 85 overall, one of the strongest and best right-backs in the entire game at the minute. And for the grand total of 47 million, he now plays for Leicester City. And guys, looking at the starting 11 going into our 3rd year in charge, I am confident. I am beyond confident that we can pull off a madness. Now granted, there are still some duds in the team, like Ben Chilwell, only 82 overall. I thought for sure he'd have improved a little bit more, but apparently I was mistaken. And I was really mistaken about Badiashile. 81 overall is all he's got to at this point. I thought for absolute sure he'd have improved a bit more than this. But with the the signings we've made this season, and the overall quality that's basically surrounding Chilwell and Badiashile, do not write Leicester City off, man. This season they could pull off a madness, and let's be completely honest, it's not like they haven't done this before in real life, is it? And we were so close yet so far away. Man City once again win the bloody league, this time by 8 points, man. What have we got to do to catch up with Manchester City? I mean, look at the stats, for goodness sake. We outscored them, we only conceded 2 more than them, we had the best goal difference in the league, we just drew too many bloody games. And look at these stats, for goodness sake. Santiago Jimenez, Fatawu, Mavididi getting more game time than Barcola. That I'm not happy about. I'm also not happy with Baldanzi. Granted, he's now 87 overall, but he's only got 14 goal contributions in 41 games. And I've just noticed, fair play to Dewsbury Hall, 25 goal contributions in 56 games for a holding centre midfielder. That's fantastic. I honestly feel like if we were to take that title from Manchester City, we are going to have to be way more ruthless than I originally anticipated. This means we're definitely replacing Ben Chilwell and Benoit Badiashile next season as soon as humanly possible. And we may end up replacing Ndidi as well if we do have the funds left over from replacing Benoit Badiashile and Ben Chilwell. But guys, as we arrive in season 4, we've been given our biggest budget yet, and we've spent it insanely wisely on our first transfer. As I've just spent 76.3 million on Ruben Diaz from Manchester City. He's one of the best centre-backs in the world, and if this doesn't improve our chances of winning the Premier League, nothing will. And this still leaves us with 150 million to replace Ben Chilwell, and if we can afford to, bring in a better CDM than Wilfred Ndidi. And guys, I found the perfect player to replace Ben Chilwell, as I spent 46.4 million on Fabiano Parisi. He's a much better player than Chilwell, and he's much younger too, so honestly, this is just common sense. And the best thing is, we can afford to replace Ndidi. We've got 64 mil left to spend in season 4. And guys, I've stumbled upon Joshua Kimmich, who's currently playing at Old Trafford. Granted, he's in his 30s, but he's 87 overall. This guy's world class, and I want him at Leicester. And there we go, for 50 million, we've signed him up on a 3-year deal, and that's our transfer window done for season 4. And just look at this team now, man. I feel like in the 4 seasons we've been in charge of Leicester City, we've got everything up to this point absolutely spot on. I mean, this season alone, we've stolen Manchester City's best defender, we've massively improved our left-back position, and we've massively bolstered our midfield. I just hope we've done enough to win the Prem this time, because if that's the case, we've got 11 seasons with the remaining 2 sides to win them the Premier League. And guys, it is now time for the moment of truth. Have we won the Foxies the Premier League? We're going to creep up the table one team at a time. So far, it's looking good. Oh my god, guys, we've either finished second once again, or we've actually done it this time. The question is, have we finally done it? Yes, we have! Oh my god! We have made the Foxes the Premier League champions for the first time in God knows how long. We finally goddamn done it. And truth be told, I'm not surprised. Look at the state of the team that we built in the end. We absolutely deserve to win the Premier League. We're by a mile the best team in England. And look at these stats, for goodness sake. They're absolutely amazing. Santiago Jimenez, Fatawu, Bradley Barcola, and even Baldanzi pouring a shift in too. But guys, it is now official. We've won the Foxes the Premier League. We can now tick Leicester City off our checklist. And this now means we're moving on to team number 2, the team that finished second in the championship, Ipswich Town. And I'll be real with you lot, we're in trouble, because this team is not ready for the Premier League yet. I mean, there are a couple of really good players like Leif Davies, only 23 years old, 74 rated. He could potentially become a little bit of a beast. And there's also Connor Chaplin, whose status says he's got something special, so hopefully they're right. But guys, our best goalkeeper is 69 overall and he's 32 years old. That is not a good start. On top of that, all of our strikers are currently either on loan to us or they're absolutely garbage. And to be honest, our winger situation isn't exactly the best thing in the world either, is it? Like I said, guys, this isn't going to be easy with Ipswich Town. We are in trouble. The good news is, though, because Ipswich have been promoted, we've been given an extra 50 million for our budget, which means we've got 64 million in total. But let's be honest, that 64 million isn't even going to dent this team. We've got to take this step by step and spend that money so goddamn strategically. Now, as for what we're going to do tactically, I'm actually going to keep the formation as it is. As you could clearly see from before, no players in that starting 11 are actually actually out of position. Let's be real, this team right now isn't good enough to use any other tactical vision. We've got to make it through season 1 in the Premier League first, and then we can think about using either wing play or the gegenpress. So now that the tactics are sorted, it's just a question of what we're actually going to do with this 64 million. Now I think above all else, we desperately need a better keeper. If we keep this geezer in goal, we're getting sent straight back down to the Championship. I also think improving this defence is vital if we're to survive the Premier League. Obviously, we've got weaknesses all over the pitch, but the defence right now is more important. But guys, putting our defensive issues to the side for a minute, I'm going to be looking in the Premier League for our goalkeeper. I'm looking specifically for a goalkeeper that's known to get his team out of relegation scraps. And I can't think of anybody better than Jordan Pickford. The amount of times he has kept Everton up solo by himself is absolutely ridiculous, and hopefully he can help keep us up as well. But guys, he wasn't exactly cheap. We just had to spend 24 million to sign him on a 3-year deal. And that leaves 36 million for our defence, and honestly, we're going to find it difficult finding players that are good enough and cheap enough to join us. But I have found Waldemar Anton, who's not the best defender in the world, but he's quite cheap and he's a very solid defender. And I've spotted former Arsenal player Hector Bellerin. He's got that Premier League experience we need, and honestly, he might be the game changer in us surviving the Prem. And guys, we spent a combined total of 28 million signing both of these players and very nearly bankrupted ourselves in the process. I mean, we've got 2 million left in the budget, man. We ain't doing anything with that now. The good news is, though, this defence looks so much better, especially with Pickford in goal. Granted, our attack still needs a lot of work, and I mean a lot of work, but we've got to take this one season at a time. And honestly, it's a good job we won the league with Leicester in 4 seasons, because we're going to need a lot of time to get Ipswich Town ready to become the best team in England. But before we even think about being the best team in England, our first step has to be surviving the Prem. And I believe we've done enough to do that, man. We brought Jordan Pickford in to go into goal. We got Hector Bellerin, got a lot of Premier League experience, and we've got Waldemar Anton, who's levels above any of our other defenders. It's now up to these boys to perform on the pitch, man. It's going to be a very difficult season, but we might just scrape survival. But whether we have or we haven't, one thing's for certain, there's some players in this team we can build the team around, because look at some of these players now. Twansby, Bellerin, Leif Davies, Anton, all in the high 70s. Honestly, the rest of these guys, we're going to have to replace them as soon as we possibly can if we are to try and do well in the Prem. And looking at the stats, I'm actually surprised at how many we've scored. Connor Chaplin being our top goal scorer with 15 goals and 2 assists. And overall, guys, the team is actually looking relatively happy. We may have actually just scraped survival. And that's exactly what we've done. We are 15th in our first season in the Premier League. Granted, we were only 6 points off the drop zone, but you know what? I'll absolutely take that. Considering what this team looked like at the beginning of this season, to keep them in the Premier League, honestly, that is a massive achievement in its own right. But our next objective is going to be a bit tricky. Again, Ipswich Town from the bottom half of the table to the top half of the table. And because we've only just scraped survival, our budget next year isn't going to be amazing. So as we go into our second year with Ipswich Town, we're going to have to be incredibly tactical once again with what we spend our money on. And I was bang on the money, guys. We only have 49 million in total to spend in our second year of Ipswich and 6th season overall. Now, as you can see, some players are on international duty, and honestly, that kind of helps me decide where I want to put this money. I want to replace Wes Burns with a much better wing. I mean, this guy's 29, he's 72 rated. Let's be completely honest, he's not that good, is he? And the same applies to Nathan Broadhead. I mean, this guy's a little bit better. He's 26, 73 rated, but he's still not Premier League standard just yet. And once we bring in new wingers, we can then change to the wing play tactical vision and play more attacking football, and this will give us a better chance of actually doing well in the Prem now that our defence is actually relatively decent. But on top of needing new wingers, we also need a better CDM than Luongo. I mean, this guy just isn't Premier League standard at all, is he? And this is going to make spending 49 million on a CDM and 2 wingers incredibly difficult. Like I said last season, we're going to have to be pretty damn strategic. But look who I found, Amad Diallo from Manchester United. He's 21, he's a very goddamn good player as well with a lot of potential, and his contract's running out, meaning we'll get a much cheaper deal. And I found Alex Bina, only 22 years old, and if we sign this guy up, he'll actually actually be our best attacking threat. And there we go, for 34.1 million, we brought in much better wingers. But in doing so, we've absolutely messed up, guys. We've got 7 mil left to spend on a better CDM. And with that kind of money, there's only one place worth looking for a better CDM, and that is the free agents list. But look is on our side, guys. I have found Poppet Guy. He's 25, he's 77 rated, he's levels above both CDMs, so he's definitely going to be a good fit. And there he is, guys, in the Ipswich Town kit. Honestly, I feel like he's going to be a bit of a game changer. But whilst I was actually looking for Papa Guy in the free agents list, I was converting Amad Diallo to become a right winger, and hopefully he's going to go up to a 77 rated player. Fantastic. And I've done the exact same thing with Alex Bina. Hopefully he goes up as well, 79 rated, not quite 80, but we're getting there. And look at the team after only 2 seasons in charge. Even our bench doesn't look all that bad when you really think about it. But with the team improving as much as it has this season, I'm definitely expecting a better finish in the league than just 15th. I mean, we brought in 2 very good wingers in Amad Diallo and also Alex Bina, not to mention the fact we've massively bolstered our midfield with Papa Guy. We've just got to hope for the best, guys. Remember, we're on a time limit with one more other team to do. We can't spend forever and a day trying to make Ipswich Town the best team in England. But guys, instead of taking a step forward, we've gone 2 steps backwards. We have actually finished in a worse position than last year, 16th in the league. Granted, we were nowhere near the relegation realistically, but this is not good enough. Don't get me wrong, I know for a fact there's still a lot of work that needs doing to this side, but come on, we've got to be doing better than just 16th. The good news, however, our debut signing Amad Diallo was our top goal scorer, 20 goal contributions in 41 games. To be fair, our other winger, Alex Binder, didn't do all that bad either. 10 goals, 7 assists, 40 games, not bad at all for a very struggling Ipswich side by the sounds of it. Maybe next year we go for a different approach tactically. Maybe this formation isn't exactly what suits Ipswich Town after all. On top of that, like I've already said, there's a lot of work that needs doing. Luongo needs to get out of this starting 11. Hurst definitely needs to be replaced as well. One way or the other, though, we've got to do something next season. We absolutely need to get out of the bottom half and into the top half at the very least. And guys, as we arrive into the new campaign, I have just made a signing that is absolutely going to get us from the bottom half to the top half of the table. I just spent 25 million on Evan Ferguson, only 20 years old. He's an absolutely phenomenal striker and he's an exciting prospect as well. We have absolutely landed on a goldmine signing this guy for this cheap. And this leaves us 35 million to bolster our midfield. And don't worry, I know exactly who to bring in, as I have just spent 24.2 million signing Romeo Lavia from Fiorentina. He's still only 21 years old, levels above Luongo, and he's an exciting prospect just like Ferguson. The 2 signings we've made this year have been absolutely phenomenal. And look at the team now, man. It is slowly but surely starting to come together. There's only a couple of areas we do need to focus on now. Unfortunately, after renewing everybody's contracts and sorting the coaching system out, we've only got 900k left, so that's going to have to wait until next year now. But on a serious note, guys, this team definitely needs to improve, and it needs to improve pretty damn quickly, because this is season 7 of 15. We're on a time limit still, guys. We still got to make Ipswich Town the best team in England and the 3rd and final team the best team in England too. I just hope because we signed Evan Ferguson and Romeo Lavia, they are going to absolutely change the game for Ipswich Town, improve like mad, and carry this team to a top 10 finish at the very least. And thank God for that, guys, because we finally got Ipswich Town to the top half of the Prem. It was honestly getting me on edge a little bit, because if what we did this season didn't work, I don't know what else would have. I mean, granted, we are still a long way before we are the best team in England with Ipswich, with Manchester City winning the league with 103 goddamn points. But this season for Ipswich Town has been a game changer, and honestly could be the turning point that we needed, because look at the development of some of these players, man. Absolutely freaking phenomenal. And the stats are the best they've ever looked as well. Evan Ferguson with 19-2, 16-3 for Amad Diallo, 16-10 for Alex Bina as well. We just need to push from this now. We've done really well this season, but there's still a lot of work that needs doing to. We need a better cam, a better centre midfielder than Guy, and also a better centre back. Because getting top 10 is one thing, but getting top 4 is another. And if we can get that next year, then we'll be well on our way to making Ipswich Town Premier League champions. And guys, because of how well we did last year, the board have granted us 83 million to spend. And honestly, this is definitely going to help our chances to get from the top 10 to that top 4. But the problem is 83 million is a lot of money, but to improve the team how I want to improve it, we can only improve 2 positions. And guys, above all else, we need to improve our defense, which means Twansby's time in the starting 11 is done. And Hector Bellerin's time is also up in the starting 11. He's been a phenomenal servant to us, a brilliant player, but now it's time to get somebody better. And believe me guys, we have just spent 36.9 million on the perfect replacement for Hector Bellerin. I am of course talking about Lutcherel Gertrude, only 26 years old, levels above Hector Bellerin. We could not have found a better right back. I've also found Kevin Danto, who plays for Bayer Leverkusen, only 27 years old, 83 overall. This guy is also levels above Twansby, so it's a no-brainer really to bring him to the team. And just like that, we have signed him for 33 million, and that's our transfer window done. And guys, I'm really liking the looks of this team now. The defense is absolutely fantastic. We've got a really solid attacking lineup. The midfield's good. We are looking like a top 4 contender, to be honest. I mean, granted, we are still nowhere near being as good, or if not better, than Manchester City. But with the steady improvements we're making each and every single season, we are getting closer and closer. These guys have got to do it on the pitch, man, because the last thing we need is to do worse than we did last year. But thankfully, guys, that's not what happened, as we finished higher than last year, 5th in the Prem. And guys, like I've just said, we are getting closer and closer to that Premier League title. And the best thing is, Manchester City aren't the winners this time, it's Liverpool. And guys, not only have we done well in the Prem, but look at the development of some of these players, man. It is absolutely phenomenal. I'm telling you now, we are getting closer and closer every single year. Especially when we've got players like Evan Ferguson and Amad Diallo banging goals in left, right and centre. But guys, going into next season, all we got to do is improve and replace a couple of positions, and we can legitimately make Ipswich Town contenders to win the title. But guys, as we approach season 9 overall, we've got 193 million to spend. So all 3 of those positions I wanted to sort out, we can definitely sort out. The first one being the attacking midfielder role, where Connor Chaplin plays. He's been an amazing player for Ipswich Town, a fantastic servant, but now it is time to improve this position. I also want to replace Papa Guillai in that centre midfielder role. Just like Connor Chaplin, he's been an amazing player for us, especially since he was a free agent to begin with, but now it is time to level this position up. And I'd like a better centre back than Anton. He really surprised me with how good he's actually become for us, but just like Chaplin and also Papa Guillai, it is time to get someone better. And I have wasted no time in replacing him by spending 65.7 million on Piero Hinsape. He's much younger and much better than Anton, and honestly guys, he's someone that is going to help us win the Prem. I've also just spent 37 million to sign Eduardo Bove. He's only 25, 84 overall, a fantastic player and such an improvement on Papa Guillai. And this still leaves us 81 midfielders to find the perfect central attacking midfielder, and I think I know just who to bring in. I am going to sign Harvey Elliott from Bayern Munich. He's 24, he's a fantastic player, he's got Premier League experience because he played for Liverpool, and honestly, he might be the key to us winning the Prem. And there we go guys, that is our transfer window done, as we have signed Harvey Elliott for 60 million. And guys, just by looking at the team, I'll be real, I think we've done enough to win the Premier League. This team all over is absolutely world class. Especially now that we've got Piero Hinsape in our defence, we've got Eduardo Bove in our midfield, and Harvey Elliott in that attacking midfielder role. I honestly think this is it. I think this is the year we win Ipswich Town the Premier League. The question is, am I right or am I completely wrong? I can't believe it. We've lost the Premier League title to Liverpool, man, by 3 points. What more do we have to do with Ipswich Town to actually win the Prem? I mean, look at these stats. Ferguson, Bina, Diallo, Eduardo Bove, Harvey Elliott all put a shift in, especially freaking Evan Ferguson, man. Come on. How does this team not win the Premier League, man? Seriously, I do not understand where we went wrong this season. We did everything perfect. Could it be, though, the lack of quality we've got on the bench? I mean, to be fair, it is actually kind of stat. We just need a better second choice goalkeeper. Either way, though, guys, we've got to do something to win Ipswich the Premier League title, because we can't spend forever and a day with them. Next season will be our 6th year with them, for goodness sake. The good news is, though, because of how well we've done in the Premier League this year, the budget will be absolutely incredible. So whatever we want to do, we surely to God will be able to do it. And I was absolutely right, guys. We've got 229 million. That's near on $250 million to spend. And like I mentioned last season, we will be focusing on the depth on our bench. If we've got quality to replace quality with, we can't go wrong in the Prem. So starting with the keeper, I'm going for Emil Adero. He's 31 years old, 82 overall, can defo do a job from the bench. And following him is Juan Luis Sanchez from AC Milan, only 24 years old and a very solid right back. And there we go, guys. For the pair of these players combined, they cost us 54.7 million. I also just spent 46.4 million on Sergio Camelo to be our brand new second choice striker. And I'm signing Pedro Goncalves to be our backup winger. 30 years old, he's a very good player. He plays for Liverpool and in fact he's actually their best attacker. Which fills me with a lot of confidence that we can win the Prem this year, as we have spent 50 million to secure his services. And just look at the transformation in our bench after that, guys. We're going to be replacing quality with quality. But guys, we do still have a lot of money in our budget, 60 mil to be exact. And to be honest, I'm having second thoughts about Dancer being in the starting 11 still. I mean, he's a fantastic player, don't get it twisted, but as you can see from the starting 11, he's actually the weakest link now, and honestly, in the back line, we can't afford weak links. So I am going to steal Liverpool's best centre-back, Gabriel. He's 30 years old, 87 overall. He won the league last year with Liverpool, and now this season he can help us win the bloody Prem. So I'm going to offer 30 mil alongside Waldemar Anton, because quite frankly, if we're just giving them cash, we won't be able to afford his wages. Let's see if they accept it. There we go. First time's a charm. Jurgen Klopp, you've accepted me offer. Good lad. Good on you, son. And there we go, guys. We have just signed what I believe to be the final piece to the puzzle in us winning the Premier League. I really hope so anyway, guys, because this team is absolutely phenomenal. Last year we came this close to winning the Premier League. This season, however, I want to go all the goddamn way and do it. Well, guys, it's the moment of truth. Have we won the Premier League with Ipswich Town? Let's find out. We're going to go up the table. It's a good start already, because last year's Premier League champions Liverpool have finished 8th, but we're still not on the table. Oh my god, this is amazing. We've either finished second in the league or we've won it. Who's finished second though? Arsenal. We finally won the league with Ipswich Town. Ipswich Town are officially the best team in England. It has taken us 6 long years, 6 years to do it, but we finally won the Premier League with Ipswich. And if I'm being honest, I'm not surprised right now, because this team is absolutely world goddamn class, and it was only a matter of time before we did it. And look at the stats as well, man. Evan Ferguson, Bina, Amad Diallo, Harvey Elliott, even Goncalves from the bench bagging a few too. But guys, now that we've won the title with Ipswich Town, this means we're now 2 teams down with 1 to go with 5 seasons left. And the final team we've got to try to win the Premier League with is playoff final winners Southampton. And I'll be honest with you lot, I was expecting a much better team, but this team on paper is going to get absolutely smoked in the Prem. I mean, one issue we've got straight away is half of our best players are currently on loan to us right now. And some of our strongest players overall have got to have time to develop, like Gavin Bazunu, only 21 years old, 73 rating. And there's Kamaldeen Sulman, who's only 21 years old. He can turn into a beast, but we've only got 5 seasons left with Southampton. Have we even got time to develop him properly? I guess only time will tell, as we've got 92 million to spend in season 1. We've had an additional 50 million given to us from that promotion. But I'm going to be real, it is going to take some doing to win this Southampton side, the Premier League, in 5 seasons. We've got a lot of work to do. But for now at least, I'm going to keep the formation as it is. I'm kind of a fan of the fact that no player in that starting 11 right now is playing out of position. But we are 100% playing counter-attack football this year, man. I feel like if we do anything else, we're going to get absolutely battered. But now that the tactics side's done, we've got just over 90 million to spend, and we've got way too much work to do with just 90 million. We've got to pick and choose what we're going to do with it. I mean, despite him showing great potential, we absolutely need a stronger goalkeeper than Bazunu. We massively need to improve our defence and midfield. To be honest, the only part of the team I'm willing to leave alone for now is actually our front 3. But looking through the squad up, I've found a striker for us without even spending a penny, guys. Carlos Alcaraz is currently on loan to Juve, and I feel like it makes the most sense in the world to just bring him back and slot him straight into the starting 11. I mean, granted, he's not going to light the Premier League up for the first season, but maybe in seasons 2, 3 and 4, he'll turn into an absolute beast for us without even spending a penny. But this does leave us the defence and goalkeeping positions to sort out, and we've got to buy established players already, really good players that can help us survive. And guys, we've taken a massive step in the right direction in surviving the Prem this year, as I've just spent 36 million on Valencia goalkeeper Georgi Mamardashvili. Now granted, this is a very wacky transfer, but when you consider how poorly Valencia have done the last 4 years and what we're going to try and do with Southampton in the next 5 years from a player standpoint, this is a good career move. And this leaves us 52 million to shore up our defence, and I think I know just how to do it. For starters, I'm signing Harwood Bellis on a permanent deal from City. He's only worth 10 million, and I know for a fact this guy's got a lot of decent potential, and to be fair, he's probably one of our best centre-backs already in the team, so it just makes sense. And following game is Nathan Ake from Manchester City. Yes, he's won absolutely everything with Man City, and that's exactly why bringing him into the team is going to help us survive the Prem. And just like that, guys, for the total sum amount of 39.4 million, we signed both of these Man City players on permanent deals. Now, we've still got 7 million to spend. Now, normally, with that kind of money, I wouldn't bother making any other transfers, but there is one more we can actually make. Flynn Downs is keeping his role in the starting 11 despite his low rating, and he's only worth 2.6 million. And if he ends up having an amazing season, growing by 3 or 4 overall, I will be damned if he's going back to West Ham for absolutely nothing. You better believe I'm signing this guy up on a permanent deal. And that officially wraps up our season 1 transfer window with Southampton after spending 3 million on Flynn Downs. I've got to be real though, despite massively improving our backline, I'm not totally convinced we've done enough to survive the Prem. I mean, not only do we have to rely on Philly and our defence doing well this year, we've got to rely on a front three of a very young Sulmana, a very young Alcaraz, and Brooks to bag us goals to actually help us survive the Prem. And we're not even taking into account how poor this midfield actually is either. And when you think about it, this year for Southampton is make or break. If the signings we've made aren't enough to keep them in the Premier League this season, we've got absolutely no chance of actually winning the Saints the Premier League in 5 seasons' time. But ladies and gents, the dream is well and truly alive. We have survived our first season in the Prem with the Saints. And despite only finishing 3 places above the relegation zone, when you look at the points difference, we were well clear of it in the end. As for the development, well, Philly and Ake did well, but that was to be expected. But Sulmana, Harwood Bellis and Alcaraz tore it up this year. However, I'm not too certain why Ross Stewart's our top goal scorer, considering Carlos Alcaraz is 10 times the player he is. But we've got to look on the bright side. We've survived our first season in the Prem, and ultimately, guys, looking at the team, it's not actually that bad. But we've only got 4 seasons with Southampton to make them the best team in England now, so if we are to actually pull this off, we've got to be incredibly good with our transfer windows going forward. But as we enter our second year with the Saints, I've had to take matters into my own hands when it comes to the budget. I have sold a silly amount of players purely because, guys, the board haven't given us much money. But I've taken care of this, guys, because we've got 105 million to spend now with the Saints, and that is much better than the original sum amount that we had to spend. But as you can see, we bloody need that money. There's a lot of areas that we need to sort out. For starters, we haven't even got a right winger now. And as well as that, this midfield is genuinely atrocious, man. I honestly feel like the defense is better than the midfield, and that is saying something. But I still don't feel comfy with this defense. I feel like a better left back than Parade is definitely on the cards. But we've got 105 million, for goodness sake. If we can't sort out that left back role, sort the midfield out, and bring in a right winger, I'm not doing it right. But I've definitely found a better left back than Parade, and Serginho Dest, still in his early 20s, he's a better player than him, but he's been approached by a dump, so if we're going to make this happen, we've got to be quick about it. And following him is OGC Nice right winger Mohamed Ali Cho, only 20 years old, a very good player, and he's showing great potential. Honestly, I know we haven't got much time with the Saints, but I'm willing to take a gamble on this dude. And just like that, we've got our left back sorted and our right winger sorted for 37.1 million altogether, which leaves us 61 million to now try to improve our midfield. Now, honestly, I've got 2 options with this. We could either split the money, bringing in 2 centre midfielders that are going to be half decent for a couple of seasons, or we could blow all of that money on one player who we just aren't going to get rid of. But guys, I preferred the latter, as I've just spent 47.6 million on Ryan Gravenberch. He's only 22 years old, already 81 overall, the best midfielder we've got by a country mile, and honestly, I feel like he's going to change the game for the Saints. And this leaves us 9 million to spend. Now, usually, I wouldn't bother spending this kind of money. I'd just leave the team as it is, but with what we've got to do and how little time we've got to do it, I want to spend every single penny of each transfer budget we get. And let's be honest, guys, Aribo is a weak link in that starting 11, and we need to sort that out. So to round off this very successful transfer window, I have spent £5 million signing Steven Alzate from Brighton. He's only in his mid-20s. He is a better player than Joe Aribo just by 1 overall, but he's got something special, so hopefully by the end end of this season, they'll be about 77 to 78 rated. But to be fair, guys, considering we've only spent 2 seasons with the Saints so far, I think it's pretty damn impressive what we've been able to do with it in such a short space of time. Now, granted, we're still nowhere near as good as the likes of Liverpool, Manchester United, and Manchester City. But with the signings we've made this year, guys, all of them being pretty damn good players, all being better than their counterparts that they've replaced, and all being high potential players, there's a solid chance that this season could be the game changer for us if we could get out of the bottom half of the table and get into the top half and maybe even get a top 6 finish. That would be absolutely massive in our goal of winning the Premier League. And that's exactly what we're able to do, guys. We are 9th in the Premier League in Season 2 with the Saints. I know we're nowhere near winning the Premier League yet, but this is a massive step in the right direction. And I'm not being funny. If Aston Villa can win the Premier League in this career mode save in the next 3 years, we've definitely got a shot at doing it ourselves. And just look at some of the improvement, man. Serginho Dest, 83 rated. Alcaraz, 83 rated. Harwood Belly's 82 rated now. And Ryan Gravenberch, 85 overall. 40 odd million worth every goddamn penny. And he was actually our second highest goal contributor as well. 14 goals, 10 assists in 44 games. What a goddamn signing. And when you take a look at the team, guys, it's just our centre mid, our CDM, and our right back position that realistically let us down. And with any luck, guys, the budget next year will be way better because we did way better this season. And if that is the case, guys, we'll be able to sort these positions out no problem whatsoever, and we'll be well on our way to a top 4 finish. And thankfully this time the board have indeed backed us up 116 million for our 3rd season in charge of Southampton. And we are definitely using this money to replace Kyle Walker-Peters. Don't get it twisted, he's been a good player for us, he's got us to this point, but now it's time for someone else to step in and take us even further. Well, this now leaves us with the CDM role to sort out, or the centre midfield role, and whilst Downs is actually the better player, I feel like it's more important to sort the CDM role out. Because if you cast your minds back to last season's finish, granted we got a top 10 finish, but our goal difference in comparison to the rest of the teams was absolutely shocking due to the fact we were leaking goals in left, right and centre. So I think replacing Flynn Downs with a far superior player will not only help us play better, it'll help us stop leaking goals in left, right and centre too. So with that being said, I got right to work on replacing him by signing Moises Caicedo for 50 million on the dot. He's only 23, 84 overall, he is levels above Flynn Downs. Honestly, this one is a no-brainer. And this leaves us 60 million to bring in a brand new and much better right back than Kyle Walker-Peters, and I've got just the player in mind. As for 46 million pounds on the dot, I've signed Manchester United right back Diogo Dalot. He's in his mid-20s, he's a far superior right back to Kyle Walker-Peters, and he's definitely going to help us win the Premier League. And as we go into Season 3 with Southampton, I am absolutely buzzing with how this team looks, man. It's just Alzate in that centre midfielder role that really lets us down, but we can always sort that out in the next 2 seasons. But now that we've signed Diogo Dalot and Moises Caicedo, I am expecting a humongous performance from the Saints in Season 3. I'm not only going to need Carlos Alcaraz to be on the top of his game, banging goals in left, right and centre. Not only am I going to need my Maudisville to put on a masterclass in goal, I'm going to need this starting 11 to play like a proper team from now until the very end of this season and get us a top 4 finish. Because not only will that make us financially secure for the rest of our time as Saints manager, that gives us a massive chance of actually winning the Premier League title. But truth be told, guys, it's a massive L, man. We are only 8th in the Premier League this season, nowhere near the top 4. And to be exact, guys, we're 34 points behind the Premier League champions Manchester City. With 2 seasons to go, this is not a good sign. I mean, Alcaraz did well, 26 goal contributions, 16 and 6 for Gravenberch as well, who's now 89 overall. Jesus Christ, what a player. But I don't really get where we've gone wrong. We've improved our defence, we've improved the midfield, and somehow we've done worse. But when you look at the Premier League table top 8 finishes, guys, we conceded by a mile the most, and we actually scored probably one of the least out of the whole bunch. I also don't think it's helpful that Alcaraz and Gravenberch are the only real goal scorers in the team right now. We need our wingers to get in on the action too. Maybe it's time we switch things up, man, because the 4-3-3 holding variation with the counter-attacking tactical vision just isn't working for us. In Season 4 with the Saints, we've got to switch it off. And guys, that's exactly what I've done in Season 4 with the Saints. We're no longer rocking the counter-attack, we are going for it with the gegenpress from now on. And we're going with the 4-2-3-1 narrow formation. This is much much more attacking. I felt like the 4-3-3 holding was too defensive, especially with how Gravenberch was playing. And this is now how the team is lined up. Now, you will have noticed a couple of players are playing out of position and a couple of players are absent, and there is a very good reason for this. For starters, I'm training Gravenberch to be an attacking midfielder. I mean, it makes sense when you think about it. He was banging goals in for fun as a centre mid. Imagine what he can do in a more attacking role. And there was players missing because I've sold them. I have sold a whole bunch of players just to give us more fun so that we've got a lot more money to spend in Season 4. And through this, guys, we've got 177 million to spend. With this kind of money, though, we absolutely have to get top 4 football. And the way we're going to get top 4 football is by replacing Alzate in that midfielder role and bringing in a better winger than a Dozy. This indeed means I'm giving Mohamed Ali Cho 1 more year. If he doesn't play well this season, next year he's getting replaced, no questions asked. But as for the player that's going on the other side of the pitch, I have brought in one of the best performing players from the Premier League this season. I've just signed Cole Palmer for 64.5 million. This guy solo carried the worst Chelsea side in history to a top 6 finish. If he can't get us a top 4 finish, nobody can. And I've also just spent 35 million on Boubacar Kamara from Aston Villa. I mean, he's in his mid-20s. He's just as good as Caicedo. That partnership in the midfield is going to be absolutely amazing. And we've still got 66 million to spend, guys. Now, we're in no position to not spend this money, so you better believe I'm making at least one more signing. And when you consider the fact we had one of the worst goal differences in the league last year, conceding the most goals out of the top 8, you better believe I am improving this defence. And I've done this by spending 60 million on the dot on centre-back Bremer. He's absolutely world-class, easily our best defender in the entire team, and hopefully he can help us get a top 4 finish. But with all these signings made, don't think for a second I forgot about Gravenberch. His training to be an attacking midfielder is done, and he's going to turn into a 90 overall player. What a goddamn signing he's turned into, by the way. I've also trained Cole Palmer to be a right winger instead of a right midfielder. He's going to go up to 86 rated. I thought for sure he was going to go up and overall. But it doesn't matter either way, guys, because this is the team going into Season 4 with the Saints, and oh my god, what a monster we've created. The only thing letting us down really is Cho on the left-hand side of the pitch, but he's got 1 more year to prove why he should be in this starting 11. If he doesn't at the end of this season, he's gone next year. But this season is make or break for the Saints, guys. We absolutely have to get a top 4 finish, and if signing Cole Palmer, Boubacar Kamara and Bremer can't get that for us, then honestly, we are stumped. But we definitely aren't stumped now, guys. We were 5 points away from being the Premier League champions, man. We came so close. I mean, changing the formation and tactical vision definitely sorted our problems out, but it wasn't quite enough to topple Man City. And these stats are the best they've looked in a long time. Alcaraz with 26 goal contributions, 18 and 5 for Gravenberch, and 13 and 9 for Cole Palmer. And when you look back at the league table, we managed to solve every problem from last year. The goal difference is the second best in the league. We scored a load of goals, and we conceded one of the least in the league too. I think we're just lacking that killer blow, man. That's what Man City have got over us, and that's quite frankly the only thing they've got over us. But thankfully this time, because we finished inside the top 4, we won't have to sell any of our players. Our budget will massively increase. And with next season being the 15th and final season overall in this challenge, we've got to go for it. We've got to be absolutely ruthless, and we've got to give it everything we've got to win the Saints the Premier League title. And guys, as we arrive into our 15th and final season of this challenge, we all know that old saying, don't we? If you can't beat them, just steal their best player. That's right, guys. I've just signed Phil Foden for 95.3 million. He's absolutely world class. He's one of Manchester City's best players, and honestly, if we are to topple Man City, we've just got to weaken them. And this leaves us 63 million left to spend, and honestly, I know exactly what to do with this money. As harsh as this is, guys, we need to replace Nathan Ake. This year, he's going to turn 33 years old, and I cannot risk him dwindling in overall in the final season of this challenge. So I'm going to try and sign Ibrahima Konate from Atletico. He's a younger centre-back, he's a better centre-back, so this one just makes sense. But we're not going to be able to afford him just by throwing money at him, so I'm offering Nathan Ake alongside 40 million. I'm just hoping Simeone goes for this, and he has. There we go. Nathan Ake is getting swapped for Ibrahima Konate. And just like that, our transfer window is done, and there he is in the Southampton kit. I just hope that we've done enough to finally get our hands on the Premier League title with the Saints. I mean, personally, I think we have. This team is absolutely phenomenal. I mean, look at our front four, for God's sake. Foden, Gravenberch, Palmer, and Alcaraz. That is deadly as hell. But guys, this is quite literally our final chance to complete this challenge. So without further ado, let's get to the end of this season to see if we finally won the Saints the Premier League title. Well guys, here we are at the end of our 15th and final season of this challenge. Let's go up the table to see how we've done. So far, so good. We're nowhere to be seen. Okay, we're officially in the top 3. Have we finished third though? No, it's between ourselves and, if I'm not mistaken, Manchester City, the team that we failed to beat last year to win the title. The question is this year, have we beaten them to it? Yes, we have! Oh my god, we've done it in convincing fashion. 11 points clear, top of the table. We finally won the Saints the Premier League title. We have somehow managed to complete the challenge. We have won all 3 newly promoted Premier League sides the Premier League title inside 15 seasons. And we did it the odd way, man. We took the full 15 season time limit, but thankfully, in the end, we managed to do it. And that's where we're going to wrap this video up, guys. If you have enjoyed this video, please do leave a like on it, smash that subscribe button, and more importantly, help me beat Raman to 100,000 subscribers. And if you still even want to see more content from me, just click right here to watch this.